Do you know there was an NHL player who looked like he was barely trying, like he wasn't even interested in the game, someone who didn't rush across the ice, rarely threw big hits, and almost never showed emotion. At first glance, it looked like he wasn't putting in any effort at all. Most fans thought he was lazy. Some believed he didn't care. He didn't shout at teammates, didn't throw his gloves in the air after goals, and never played with the kind of loud energy hockey fans are used to. But behind that quiet face and relaxed body language was something completely different. William Nylander wasn't ignoring the game, he was reading it. He wasn't falling behind, he was staying calm. While others panicked or forced plays, he waited for the perfect moment. While it looked like he was coasting, he was actually in full control. He kept scoring goals, setting up teammates, and stepping up in big moments, all while barely making a sound. Nylander was never about making noise. He didn't need to be loud to be great. He let his game speak for itself. So how did a player many called lazy become one of the most dangerous forwards in the league? And how did so many people get him so wrong right from the beginning? To understand all of that, we need to go back to where it all started. But before we dive into the full story, do me a small favor. Take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It might seem like a simple thing, but it really helps us bring you more stories like this. Stories about players who were doubted, misunderstood, or nearly forgotten. William Nylander's journey isn't just about hockey stats or headlines. It's about staying true to who you are, even when the world keeps telling you to change. So stay with this, because the story only gets more powerful from here. If William Nylander didn't prove people wrong early on, his time in Toronto could have ended before it truly began. The Maple Leafs used a high first-round draft pick on him. They later gave him a big contract, one that came with heavy expectations. But not long after, many fans and even some sports reporters started saying he wasn't worth it. They said he played soft, that he lacked the intensity needed to survive in the NHL. And when the Leafs struggled in the playoffs, guess who got the blame? It was almost always Nylander. At one point, people weren't just picking apart his play. They were openly asking if Toronto should trade him. They questioned whether he had the heart to survive in a hockey city as passionate and intense as Toronto. Some said he didn't fit in with the team's style. Others believed he was slowing them down. And every mistake he made, every missed shot or quiet game, just added more fuel to the fire. But this wasn't just about keeping a spot on the team. Nylander wasn't fighting for minutes. He was fighting for respect. Because in Toronto, hockey is more than just a sport. It's a way of life. And once fans see you as lazy or weak, that label can stick forever. It becomes your reputation, no matter how good you really are. Nylander knew this. He understood what people were saying. And he also knew that if he didn't prove himself soon, he wouldn't just be questioned. He might be gone, traded, forgotten. He wouldn't choose all of that, even though deep down, he knew the truth. He had the talent to be one of the best. He just needed the chance to show it his way. William Nylander was born into the world of hockey. His father, Michael Nylander, played over 900 games in the NHL, which meant hockey was part of William's life from the very beginning. While most toddlers were learning to walk or ride a bike, William was already holding a hockey stick. It wasn't just a sport in the Nylander household, it was part of their daily life. But unlike most kids who grow up playing on the same backyard rink or in the same hometown arena, William's childhood was anything but stable. As his dad changed teams throughout his career, the Nylander family had to pack their bags again and again, moving from Sweden to Canada, then to the United States and back. Every time they started to settle in, it was time to move again. By the time William was just 10 years old, he had already lived in more cities than most people visit in their entire childhood. Still, even with all the moving, one thing remained the same: hockey. William was always around the rink. He practiced with pro-level players, watched games from behind the bench, and learned by watching some of the best athletes in the world. He didn't just see hockey from the stands, he lived inside it. And yet, despite being so close to the NHL life, William didn't act like a kid who had something to prove. He wasn't loud, he didn't show off, he didn't try to get attention. He was calm, quiet, and completely focused. Even as a teenager, he kept to himself and let his game do the talking. What made William stand out was how smooth he looked on the ice. His skating, his puck control, it all looked so easy. Too easy, in fact. Some scouts were confused. One of them said, "It's like he's never in a rush. You wonder if he even realizes he's in a game." Another joked, "He looks like he's out for a casual skate, not like he's fighting for an NHL contract." But that was the magic of Nylander. His cool, relaxed style wasn't a weakness. It was his strength. While others were throwing hits and pushing the pace, William was gliding through defenders, threading perfect passes, and scoring with just a flick of his wrist. He wasn't intense on the outside, but he was sharp, focused, and deadly on the inside. Still, some NHL teams had their doubts. They weren't sure if his calm approach would work at the highest level. Was he too relaxed? too smooth, maybe even too soft. But what they didn't see was everything he had already lived through. William wasn't just a skilled kid with a famous last name. He was someone who had trained like a pro since he was little. He had grown up inside NHL locker rooms, watched veterans up close, and knew exactly what it took to make it in the league. Even if others didn't see it yet, William Nylander did. He knew who he was, and he knew where he was going. In 2014, the Toronto Maple Leafs made a big decision. With the 8th overall pick in the first round of the NHL draft, they chose William Nylander. Right away, fans were excited. He had the skill, he had the speed, and he came from a hockey family. Some people even said he might be the future face of the franchise. But playing in Toronto isn't like playing anywhere else. The pressure is intense, the spotlight is bright, the fans expect greatness, and the media watches every move. So it didn't take long for the mood to change. From the very beginning, people didn't know how to understand William Nylander. He moved across the ice so smoothly, never seemed to panic, and showed almost no emotion on his face. He didn't yell, didn't get into fights, and didn't act fired up like the players Toronto fans were used to cheering for. When he had a few quiet games or when the team lost, the criticism came fast and loud. Some fans quickly labeled him lazy. Sports media started saying he didn't look like he was trying hard enough. And others said he simply didn't have the toughness to survive in the NHL, a league known for hard hits and intense pressure. Then things got even worse with his contract situation. After his first deal ended, Nylander didn't sign right away. Instead, he waited, trying to negotiate a fair deal. That holdout dragged on for months. While the season had already started, he still wasn't on the ice. Fans became frustrated. The media turned up the heat. Some people even booed him when he finally returned to the team. And the headlines? They weren't kind at all. Words like overpaid, not committed, and doesn't care were being thrown around. His reputation was taking serious damage. But behind all that noise, something very different was happening. While most people only saw the quiet, emotionless player on the surface, his teammates and coaches saw the real picture. They saw a guy who stayed late after practice, working on his shot over and over again. A player who watched game film to find small ways to improve. Someone who wanted to get better, even if he didn't make a big deal about it. One coach said it best, "Willie doesn't talk much, but he listens. He wants to improve. He's just not going to shout about it." That one sentence summed him up perfectly. He wasn't the type to defend himself on social media or give bold interviews to fight back against the hate. He kept quiet and just focused on getting better. Slowly, the results started to come. His stats began to rise. He found better chemistry with his teammates. He wasn't making highlight reels every night, but he was quietly becoming more and more important to the team. He was figuring out how to make an impact in his own way. The pressure didn't break him. It didn't push him away. Instead, it helped shape him into a stronger, smarter player. And then came the 2022 to 2023 season, the year everything finally changed. For years, Nylander had been stuck with labels like soft, overpaid, and invisible in big games. But this time, he didn't let that noise get to him. He didn't just quiet the critics, he made them completely rethink their opinions. By the end of the regular season, Nylander had scored 40 goals and earned 87 points, both career highs. Game after game, he was one of the Leafs' best players. When the team needed someone to score, he stepped up. When the pressure got heavy, he stayed calm. While other players rushed or forced plays, Nylander looked like he had extra time, like he was reading the game a few steps ahead. It was as if he was playing chess, while everyone else was still trying to learn the rules. He didn't become someone new, he just got better at being himself. That's when everything started to shift. In the playoffs, the Leafs had a rough start. They were crushed in Game 1, and immediately the pressure began to build again. Fans were nervous. The media was already questioning the team's toughness. It felt like the same story was about to repeat itself. But then came Game 2 against Tampa Bay, and William Nylander looked like a completely different player. He came out fast. He was skating hard, winning puck battles, and creating scoring chances with that smooth wrist shot of his. He scored 1 goal, set up another with a perfect assist, and kept putting pressure on Tampa's defense all night. And he did it all without showing off. No big celebration, no chest pounding or yelling, just a small nod, a calm face, and a quiet skate back to the bench, like it was just another shift. That game was a turning point. That's when people started to realize the truth. This wasn't laziness, it was control. It was confidence. Nylander wasn't panicking under pressure like some thought he would. He didn't try to force plays or chase the spotlight. He waited for the right moment, made his move, and hit the target. Like a silent assassin, he picked his spots and made the hard plays look easy, and his teammates noticed. One of them said, "Willie's not the loudest guy in the room, but when the puck drops, he's deadly. He doesn't flinch, ever." That calm, cool style, once seen as a problem, was now his biggest weapon. By the time the season ended, the narrative had completely changed. The same fans who once wanted him traded were now proudly wearing his jersey. Reporters who had doubted his work ethic were calling him one of Toronto's most reliable and consistent players. And Nylander didn't need to say a single word. He let his performance speak for itself. He didn't argue. He didn't prove anything with his mouth. He proved it with results. But even then, things didn't suddenly become easy. Even after his breakout year, the pressure didn't disappear. If anything, it got even louder. Now that Nylander was putting up big numbers, people started asking a different question. Is he still worth the money? The contract that once seemed too expensive now looked like a good deal. But with other star players on the team needing new contracts, the media began to stir things up again. Trade rumors started flying. Headlines popped up saying things like, "Can the Leafs afford to keep him?" Or, "Is Nylander the odd man out?" Once again, the fan base was split. Many had grown to admire his cool style and strong play, but some still wanted more. More fire, more physicality, more emotion. It didn't matter that he had just played his best season. Some people still didn't think it was enough. But William didn't argue. He didn't complain in interviews. He didn't post anything on social media to defend himself or respond to the rumors. He didn't feed the drama. He just kept playing. Calm, cool, and focused. While people talked, he worked. He kept scoring goals. He kept creating chances for his teammates. He played like the noise around him didn't even exist. And the people who were actually around him every day, they saw the truth. His teammates knew the kind of effort he brought. One of them put it perfectly. People outside don't get it. Willie shows up. He works. He cares. Just because he's not yelling doesn't mean he's not locked in. His coach said the same. Nylander had become one of the most reliable players on the team. Quietly, without needing the spotlight, he had turned himself into a leader. Not with speeches, but with steady, consistent effort. Instead of letting all the pressure crush him, Nylander used it to grow. He didn't try to become someone else. He didn't change his style to please the critics. He just doubled down and got even better at playing his way. The same calm, controlled approach that used to be seen as a weakness was now the reason he kept rising. While other players were stressed about headlines and contracts, Nylander was out there skating past defenders and putting the puck in the back of the net. He had figured it out. He had learned to play his own style of hockey, and finally, it was working exactly the way he always believed it could. By the time the 2023 playoffs came around, Nylander wasn't just surviving under pressure, he was thriving in it. Toronto was once again under the spotlight, carrying the weight of years of disappointment and high expectations. But this time, something felt different, and a big part of that shift was because of William Nylander. In the first round against Tampa Bay, when the Leafs needed someone to step up, it was Nylander who answered the call. He scored 4 goals in 6 games, made huge plays in key moments, and stayed calm while everything around him felt tense. No panic, no stress, just focus and control. And then finally, after 19 long years of heartbreak, Toronto won a playoff series. The team celebrated like never before. Fans cried tears of joy in the streets. The whole city lit up. And there was William Nylander, as usual, calm, composed, and quietly skating off the ice like it was just another night. But everyone watching knew this moment belonged to him too. He had waited for this. He had taken the blame when things went wrong. He stayed silent when people doubted him. He didn't try to change who he was, just to win approval. Now, the team was moving forward. And Nylander had played a huge role in delivering the moment Toronto had been waiting nearly 2 decades for. And the best part? He did it his way. He didn't become a different person. He didn't fake intensity. He didn't force his voice to be louder. He stayed exactly the same. And finally, the league started to understand it. For years, people said he was lazy, soft, and too laid back to lead a team like the Maple Leafs. But now, those same people are changing their tune. Today, when Nylander touches the puck, the crowd leans in. Reporters praise his numbers and his steady performances. Even his toughest critics are starting to admit they were wrong. He didn't become more aggressive. He didn't start throwing hits or making bold speeches. He just kept being himself. Quiet, smart, and focused under pressure. Off the ice, Nylander is the same way. He's laid back, private, and doesn't chase attention. He enjoys his space. Teammates say he's funny, relaxed, and never lets drama get to him. That calm attitude once made people question whether he cared, but now they understand it's not a flaw. It's his greatest strength. He's not lazy. He's built differently, smart, smooth, dangerous. He became the kind of player who doesn't have to talk big because his game already says everything. And every time he glides across the ice with quiet confidence and scores another effortless goal, it reminds everyone. People once thought William Nylander didn't care, but now they know better. So what do you think? Does William Nylander finally get the respect he deserves? Or is he still one of the NHL's most underrated stars? Some fans only started paying attention after he hit 40 goals. Others have been watching him quietly carry this team for years. But no matter which group you're in, one thing is clear. William Nylander isn't just a talented player. He's smart. He plays the game on his own terms, and it works. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did Nylander prove you wrong? Or were you always a fan of his calm, cool, confident style? And if you made it this far, thank you for watching. William Nylander's story isn't just about hockey. It's about staying true to who you are. It shows you don't need to shout to be heard, and you don't have to change to be great. If this story made you feel something, or helped you see the game in a new way, then please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us more than you know, and it allows us to keep sharing the stories of players who changed the game in their own quiet, powerful way.